It started, as most great television moments do, with coffee, jet lag, and a mild disagreement about boarding procedures. Ripa sat perched on her high stool on the set of Live with Kelly and Mark, flipping through her note cards with the same precision a surgeon might use while choosing a scalpel. Across from her, Mark Consuelos, actor, husband, and frequent travel companion, wore the smirk of a man who knew he was about to step on a conversational landmine. The audience could already feel it coming. They were in the middle of the relatable couple moment segment, that magical time of morning TV when celebrity hosts morph into mirror versions of every married couple in America, bickering gently, laughing loudly, and airing tiny grievances disguised as charming anecdotes. So, Kelly began, glancing over the rim of her mug, "We had another airport divorce this weekend." The crowd laughed instantly. Airport divorce, two words that, when uttered by Ripa, could cause both nervous chuckles and collective recognition across living rooms nationwide. Mark shifted in his chair. "You make it sound like we actually got divorced," he protested. Kelly raised a manicured eyebrow. "Mark, the way you behave at airports. It's a miracle we're still married." Cue the audience laughter, followed by Mark's signature defensive shrug. The anatomy of an airport divorce. For those unfamiliar, an airport divorce is not legally binding, though, emotionally, it might feel like it. It's that moment when two people who love each other deeply realize, somewhere between TSA pre-check and the Hudson News kiosk, that they were not meant to travel together. Mark, as Kelly explained, has a very specific pre-flight philosophy: arrive early, stay calm, stay quiet. Kelly, on the other hand, subscribes to the sacred art of controlled chaos, packing at the last minute, darting through terminals, and treating each gate change like a competitive sport. Mark wants to be at the airport 3 hours before takeoff, Kelly told the audience. "I think that's a waste of 3 perfectly good hours I could spend sleeping, eating, or watching reality television." Mark interjected, "You say that, but then you're the one sprinting in heels at the gate yelling, 'Don't close the door.'" Kelly turned dramatically toward the camera. "Because you told me we had plenty of time. You said, 'It's fine, the airport's not busy today.' It wasn't," Mark said, "until you decided to stop for a coffee, a magazine, a pack of gum, and a chat with the barista about skincare." By now, the studio audience was roaring. The spat had escalated into the kind of good-natured comedy duel that only two people with decades of marriage, and a daily talk show, could pull off. Scene change, terminal love. The couple reenacted the scene like veteran sitcom stars. Kelly leaned forward, channeling her inner dramatist. "So there we are at JFK. He's got his AirPods in, walking 5 feet ahead of me like he's auditioning for the Bourne Identity. And I'm behind him, juggling my bag, my coffee, and my dignity. Suddenly, the gate agent calls our group. Mark's gone. Just, poof, vanished." Mark laughed, shaking his head. "You were still in line for snacks. Because someone," she pointed at him with mock accusation, "refuses to share his trail mix." "I'm not refusing. I just like to ration it." "Ration it," Kelly cried. "We're not hiking Everest, we're on Delta." The audience clapped and whistled. Even Mark broke into laughter, rubbing his forehead. "This is what she does," he said to the camera. "She turns minor inconveniences into Greek tragedies." Kelly smirked. And yet, people keep tuning in for the sequel. The Airport Divorce Chronicles. Behind the laughter, their story carried an odd universality. Who hasn't experienced the existential stress of air travel with a loved one? The lines, the luggage, the endless hurry up and wait rhythm, it's the perfect storm for personality clashes. "Here's the thing," Kelly continued. "We always end up arguing before we board. Always. Then we sit in silence for the first half of the flight like two strangers. I watch a movie, he pretends to sleep, and then, right before landing, we make up." Mark grinned. "That's because we realize we survived another airport divorce, and we're still together." "Barely," Kelly teased. "By the time we hit baggage claim, we're already renewing our vows." Someone in the audience shouted, "That's marriage." And Kelly pointed in agreement. "Exactly. That's real marriage. It's not candlelit dinners, it's making it through TSA without filing for separation." Behind the humor, why it works. The charm of Kelly and Mark's dynamic isn't just in the jokes, it's in the comfort of their rhythm. After 28 years of marriage, they've perfected the art of playful disagreement. On screen, they're not just hosts, they're a microcosm of partnership, proof that love doesn't mean avoiding conflict, but knowing how to turn it into comedy gold. Even as they teased each other, there was an undercurrent of affection. When Mark leaned in to say, "She exaggerates, but she's right, I can be intense about travel," Kelly softened. "He just wants us to be on time. And I want to live dangerously. It's the Leo in you," Mark joked. "And the Virgo in you," she shot back. A match made in boarding Group C. The moral of the frequent flyer story. By the end of the segment, Kelly had the final word, of course. "You know," she mused, "maybe we need to start a support group for couples who've survived airport divorces. We could call it, Gate 23 Anonymous. Motto: arrive late, love early." Mark nodded thoughtfully. "Or we could just take separate flights." Kelly's mock gasp echoed through the studio. "And miss out on all this chemistry. Please, who would you argue with about overhead bin space?" "Probably the flight attendant," he admitted. The laughter rolled one more time, that warm studio sound that signals not just entertainment, but recognition. Everyone watching, whether from a couch or an airport lounge, had lived their own version of that moment. 2 people, 1 boarding pass, and 1,000 tiny reasons to bicker. Epilogue: love at 30,000 feet. Later, off camera, someone asked Kelly if she and Mark ever truly fight when traveling. She smiled. "Of course we do. That's what makes it fun. The airport divorce isn't real, it's just our way of saying, we drive each other crazy, but we wouldn't have it any other way." Mark, ever the straight man, added, "And hey, at least we always end up on the same flight." She squeezed his hand. Usually. The next day, social media lit up with clips from the segment. Couples everywhere chimed in. "My husband and I have airport divorces all the time. Solidarity, Kelly. This is so real. My wife turns into a Navy SEAL when we hit TSA. Marriage goals, surviving the boarding process together." It wasn't just television. It was therapy, served with laughter, coffee, and the comforting knowledge that even glamorous couples lose their cool at Gate 23 sometimes. Final boarding call. As the show wrapped, Kelly leaned toward Mark, that familiar sparkle in her eye. "So, when's our next flight?" she asked. Mark hesitated. "Maybe, we drive this time." Kelly grinned. "Perfect. I'll pack the snacks, and the divorce papers, just in case." The audience erupted again, because that's what love looks like after nearly 3 decades, knowing exactly which buttons to push, laughing about it, and making your flight anyway. And as the credits rolled, America knew one thing for sure, whether on air or in Terminal 4, Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos would always find their way back to each other. After a brief layover in airport divorce.